Marina was running late. She looked down at the small paper in her hand and craned her neck in all directions, looking for the right place. She loved her job, but she hated deadlines. And her shoes. She looked down at the new silver heels and wondered why she'd bought them in the first place. As she quickly started walking towards her destination, she caught her reflection in a store window and remembered why she'd paid almost $100 for the pumps. They made her feet and legs look sexy. Smiling, she picked up her pace. 2.5 blocks later, she found the spot. This place wasn't the style she usually dealt with. It was actually one of the better-known places she'd gotten a call for. Standing out front on the sidewalk, she looked up at the beautiful brick building and the black awnings with simple lettering that hung over the doors and windows. She wondered why Reggie, her boss, had wanted her to come check out this place. Running a hand down her skirt, she straightened her shoulders and walked towards the large glass doors. When she walked in, cool air hit her face. She took a deep breath and enjoyed it for just a moment. It was another hot summer day, but since she was wearing light clothing, the 5-block hike hadn't bothered her too much. She walked up and gave her name to the maitre d'. As he was seating her, she looked around. The waitstaff were well-dressed in classy black and white. The tablecloths were a nice, rich cream. Actually, the entire room was gorgeous. Nothing looked out of place. From the elegant artwork to the beautiful chandeliers, the place screamed class and comfort. As she sat down, the maitre d' handed her a menu and explained the specials for the day. She nodded and ordered the soup. Then the maitre d' left her to look over her menu. It was her job to know food. Good food. She'd been writing for the Times for over 3 years now and had, in that time, stepped on a lot of toes. She'd also advanced a lot of restaurants to stardom. Of course, it was all under her pen name. The only 2 people who knew her real identity were Reggie and Carol down in payroll. Smiling as the waiter walked over to take her order, she mentally checked off the list of items she would note on. So far, the place was looking to be a great review. Half an hour later, her food was delivered, and she quickly changed her mind. She ate quickly and left. She frowned the entire way home, wishing she had never stepped foot in Manhattan nights. Trent stared down at his morning paper and started choking on his coffee. When he recovered, he threw the rest of the paper down and marched out of his loft. Less than 5 minutes later, he stood in front of his staff and tried not to yell. "Who is responsible for this?" He shook the paper. It was 1:15, so he knew some of his staff would have already read the review. Angie, his sous chef, quickly looked away, so he knew she'd already seen the piece. Rob, his chef de partie, looked down at his feet. Half of the other staff refused to look him in the eye. "I want to know who was on staff and what was served. Immediately." His voice broke as he tried not to scream. Stephen, his other head chef, rushed out to get him the answers. For the last few months, Trent had left Stephen in charge so he could focus his time on the grand opening of Manhattan Nights' second location, just off of 5th Avenue. He stood there and waited for an explanation, thinking that obviously he'd hired the wrong people to control his kitchen. He'd just have to step back into that role himself again, until he could find someone else to take over. He'd already hired staff for the new location, which was set to open in just under 3 months. But this review? He looked down at the paper and felt his stomach roll. Might set that back.